DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
All right, everybody, welcome into Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo. I escaped from Janky World, as did my compatriot and co-host, Nick Felice. Nick, good to see you. Happy to see you also escape Janky World with me.
It's better than, what was the other one? Dire Fest.
Dire Fest, yeah.
I think it's better than that. For those Big Brother fans out there, You'll know what the hell we're talking about. But
very inside joke, if not.
Yeah. I have escaped. I'm glad I'm not playing that game right now.
Oy, oy, oy.
But yeah, doing well. What's today? Wednesday?
Yep.
Middle of September now? Time flying.
Yeah. First day of fall this weekend.
When is it? 21st?
Yep, officially. So, yeah, we got football stuff to get to, and recap a little bit of Watkins Glen. First time in a couple of years we didn't run into each other, Nick, but
yeah,
I
was
say
originally supposed to do the Sunday race.
I would say you probably had a bit of a better time than I did Saturday even. So
that was long.
Yeah,
I was there though.
Yeah, it was a long.
Has an overtime ever been that long?
No, I mean the sad part is it's not even like the overtime was long because that first initial restart wasn't technically overtime. Yeah. They just decided to wad up some cars. Anyway, let's get into it here. Football, NFL first. We said it last week. Tough, week one, you don't want to really overreact, stuff like that. And to a degree, you can make that case with week two in the same breath. But some teams making us raise our eyebrows here in the wrong ways early on, just like how there's teams making us raise our eyebrows in the good way early on. I'd say the most eyebrow-raising one so far, admittedly, and I don't know if it's just because it's fitting my narrative of what I've been pounding for the past season and a half of this team, but what the hell is going on with Baltimore at this point? Look, I get it. Like I said, it's week two. I'm sure part of this is an overreaction, but they're apparently this team, right, that's supposed to go toe-to-toe with Kansas City this year, and now they fall into the 0-2 category, and they fall into that stat, right, of like only 30% of teams who have ever gone 0-2 make the playoffs and blah, blah, blah. I think they saw the possibility of really breaking the mold, being the one who, I guess, beats the numbers, right? But through 2 weeks, like, they got to be, at least for me personally, they are the biggest head scratcher, the biggest one with problems kind of going on with this team. And you kind of brought it up a little bit last week, Nick, and when we were just kind of more or less talking about them. But, like, this is a team that, like, if you actually look at it, a little bit of a confusing roster construction in a way. I don't know. Like, it's tough in the NFL. You don't see, like, those trades exactly happen mid-season a ton. They might be in the right division to make it work this year, only because it's very clear, like, okay, Pittsburgh's 2-0, but
that's what I was gonna say.
But like, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, there's just a lot of. We had high hopes for this division this year, and maybe it's just not going to happen. I don't know, but to me, Baltimore is the number one team in this eyebrow-raising category in the wrong reason.
Well, there's plenty of time to turn around, but I was going to say, like, yeah, Ravens are 0-2 and the Steelers are 2-0, but don't you feel a little bit better being the Ravens than you do the Steelers? 1 touchdown, but 2 wins. You
correct, in theory, yes.
And then the Ravens, I think it's a little bit of overreaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they don't win big games. That's the thing. A little overreaction with the 0-2 start. I mean, they were an inch away from winning the first game, and they had that. They just basically blew that game against the Raiders.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but that's my issue though with it, right? Is the fact that it frankly was crunch time scenarios in both games.
This is only the Raiders.
Yeah.
0-2 is 0-2. I mean, there's no change in the
2-0 Raiders, though, by the way.
1-1.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they lost to the Chargers. Apologies.
Steelers.
Apologies.
Get that in your heads. 2-0 undefeated
Sorry.
Steelers.
Sorry. Good teams win, but great teams cover.
Yeah. I mean, this division is not what we thought it was going to be. The NFC East is not what we thought it was going to be.
Well, we'll get to them. Don't worry.
But one game back. Yeah, I'm not going to overreact on the Ravens in 2 games. And it's like the Bengals. They're 0-2 as well. Not going to overreact. I mean, personally, I know a lot of people are, it's like kind of like a 60-40. People thought the Chiefs got I thought the Bengals got hosed with that call. I really do. I know by rule it's pass interference. I can see that. I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. My picks might think that. I say that.
The way you said it.
But that's like a Hail Mary ball. 4th and 15. It's a Hail Mary. And people do that all the time in Hail Marys. I think the refs gave the Chiefs that game.
Wow.
If I was a Bengals fan, I'd be pissed. I really do. The refs gave that one away. And it was like the whole game. It just seemed like every call was going Kansas City's way. And, yeah, I'm not happy about that. But especially the Chiefs have won enough. We're sick of the Chiefs, man. And, yeah, but the Ravens, not overreacted. Did you say that was your biggest takeaway from week 2?
No, they are my number one head scratch team.
Okay.
Like what's going on here?
Because my biggest takeaway from the whole week
Right.
in general is the Saints. Averaging 20 points a quarter. What are they averaging a quarter this season? They got 90 points, I think. Pretty close to 90.
90 divided by 8 is
Over 20.
no. It's over 10.
It's over 20.
It's 11 point something.
20, 40, 60.
90 divided by 8. 8 goes into 9 once. 9 minus 8 is 1. Drop the 0. There's the 10.
They're scoring a lot more points than most teams.
8 goes into
every
10.
team.
8 goes into 10 once.
Did you erase? I got to erase something on mine. But anyway, they're scoring a lot of points.
I believe it's like 11.24 or something like
which
that.
is a lot.
Yes.
So 20 points a half.
Yes. More or less. Correct.
Over 20 points a half,
Sure.
which is impressive.
Yeah.
That's 40 points a game.
Borderline 22 and a half.
Will they keep it up? I don't know.
Probably not.
Is Derek Carr the MVP? I don't think so. But
Well,
either him or Baker
right.
or Alvin Kamara,
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins, Jake Moody.
People are whispering.
Actually, not Jake Moody. Kamini Fairbairn is having an unbelievable.
Kaimi.
He's having a great season so far. But yeah, they're my biggest takeaway, and not because of what they did to the Cowboys. The Cowboys' defense is overrated, just like the Jets' defense, and it's not what they did to the Cowboys. It's what they're doing in all. I mean, you thought, okay, Panthers, yeah, still impressive to put up 40 points on any NFL team. And then them to do it to the Cowboys in the least home field advantage, I will say, in all sports. I'll go all professional sports, the main 4. Playing in Dallas, that Cowboy Stadium is the easiest place to play for a road team.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I can think of one right now. I'd say way more easy.
Let me hear Oakland or White Sox.
No, Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were just like,
Yeah, they're bad, but
I'm selling tickets for $1.
I'm talking about even playing field. You know, teams are. It's not about what the team's doing right now. It's about like playoff. I guess we can go all the way.
Playoff?
If a playoff game at Carolina is a lot tougher to play than a playoff game at Dallas, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I'm very impressed by the Saints. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, Hold on, let me double check here. Yeah, it's a good litmus test this week to see if it holds.
Who they play?
They're home against Philly. So it's a good litmus test. So we'll get to that more in a second.
Now, that's a tough place to play.
Yeah. Anyway, the Cincinnati call. I don't disagree, obviously, but like you can't be acting a fool after the fact in such a way. I don't know. I don't think it's not making me head scratch just yet, but the Chiefs aren't doing a lot for me right now. They aren't.
And they lose Pacheco.
Yeah, I mean, Pacheco was done for a while. I don't know.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, and in a division where the Chargers are 2-0, one game, obviously the Carolina game, tough to really gauge, but they're playing Pittsburgh this week, so good litmus test for maybe both teams here.
Raiders.
We have a 2-0 team and a 1-1 team that appear to at least be frisky enough to give you trouble.
And the Broncos scored 3 points the other day. Did you see that Broncos game? Not to interrupt.
No.
Did you see how that game ended?
No.
They They had one timeout, and they scored or whatever.
Sean Payton's genius was just too much.
They elected to not do the onside kick with like a minute 40 with one timeout, and they got the ball back with like 10 seconds. They kicked it downfield with a minute 40, one timeout.
I can kind of see it. I don't know.
They needed a touchdown.
But the main issue now with the rules with the kicking, especially on the onside, is it takes away the really get the opportunity to get
Sean Payton, obviously Super Bowl, he's the biggest surprise onside kicker of all time.
Right. So
10 seconds to score a touchdown.
Yeah, I just
8.
I just think that I get where he's coming from. I agree with you. Probably would have onside, but I get where he's coming from. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't think they're quite there yet. Anyway, the Chiefs with the true head scratch, but we're near it. We're near it.
Do you think the Chargers can give the Chiefs a run for their money in this division?
I think they're pesky enough that they could, but
Herbert's fine.
yeah.
He was hurt there.
I want to circle back though. The Buccaneers, the Saints, both 2-0, both look pretty good.
Atlanta looked good.
Yeah, we'll circle.
I've said that in a couple years. Atlanta looked good.
Are we sure Atlanta's that good as people think though preseason? Because I don't think so.
That was the second time I sat down and watched Bijan Robinson. I watched the London game last year. I got to watch him just like watch the whole game. Watched him Monday night. That kid is a stud.
Oh, I mean he runs. He's a classic running back in a sense. Like
he is.
Yeah,
he is good. And Cousins gives him a lot better option than Desmond Ridder. And
yes, correct.
And
but there are certain things I don't know about that team. So
Kyle Pitts still non-existent. Even though he had a touchdown.
it makes you wonder.
Is he just not good?
So I don't know about not good, right? But like it does make you wonder kind of about his ability, I guess, in a way. I don't know. I mean, he's better than still I'd say like half the tight ends in the league, right? But like for all the hype we give him, we're again 2 weeks, probably overreaction to a degree here, but like yeah, like maybe he just isn't like
London actually showed up at the end.
It's tough to put it this way, right? Only because like I think it's really comparing apples to oranges in a way, but it's like it's got to like I don't think he's on like that Bryce Young level of just like bust, but maybe he's just not what the hype bought him into be.
Marvin Harrison Jr. not a bust.
True.
He did look like it in week 1.
Well, the Cardinals are
underrated.
I'm going to put them in the wagon category. Don't know if I want to play them,
I think we forget how good Kyler Murray is.
When he's healthy, yeah.
People have been saying like he's bad.
Well, I've never understood even last year when they were like talking about trading, people were. It's a lot like I know this one's probably going to hurt you a little bit the comparison, But, like, it's a lot like the people who were saying, like, Donovan Mitchell's leaving Cleveland. I'm like, has anybody heard anything about him actually, like, wanting to leave?
I just can't believe how much
Like-
the media jumped off of Murray so fast.
Well, that's just because you got caught in the web of, like, whatever. Like, you know, like, of course, they're going to... Like, and maybe it's just because I've been I've been a very pro Kyler guy this whole time, and so maybe I'm coming from the angle of just, like, we told you so, but, like, dog, like, he's... Like, when he's healthy, he's legit. Like, he's got the arm, he's got the wheels.
Or is it because the Rams are too bad? They are bad.
So this could also be a little bit of that. I don't think the Rams are as bad as they've.
Injuries have played a factor.
I mean, and even then, week 1 against Detroit.
They could have won that game.
Yeah, I mean, they probably should have won the game, but you don't, and you didn't, and you have nobody to blame but yourself, right? Probably would be remiss if we didn't talk about probably the biggest headline from the week with Tua Tagovailoa.
That was just wow.
Well, yeah, because it happened more or less a week ago for us, the way we, since we come on Wednesdays. But I don't know. It's tough. My initial reaction, right, was actually weirdly my initial reaction when the injury occurred, I thought it was his shoulder at first, if I'm being completely honest. And then he had the arm convulsions that he had similarly to before, which is why I kind of thought it was shoulder at first, because I saw his arm kind of like twitching in a way. I'm like, oh, he dislocated that shoulder. That was my initial thought.
Joey's Randall.
And that didn't, obviously was the case. Then my initial reaction, once we knew it was a concussion, was, dog, like, retire. And I think from a health perspective, that still is my thing, but you can't force a guy to do something he's not going to want to do. Now, that being said, I don't know how many more of these hits he can realistically take on, because despite his best efforts, right, in football, those type of hits will find you every now and then. And I just don't know what his future actually holds at this point. And I don't mean to sound ignorant when I say this and everything like that, right? But, like, this is now derailed what was supposed to be maybe era-defining season for the Dolphins, in a way, right? Like, there was a lot of hope and hype around them.
And now they're stuck with Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, and it's just like turning this thing of, like, if you're the Dolphins too, right? This is now, what, the 5th time this is really going to cause a true adjustment in what you got to do. I just hope both sides can get together and come to some sort of conclusion on one way or another, right, that they can move forward with in a positive manner. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but this is the first time we've seen Tua go on the IR for a concussion, and obviously it happened week 2 this year, not week 4 or 5 or something like that. But this appears to be kind of like really the moment that even the team is like, we need to figure this out, and not kick the can down the road.
Yeah, it's disappointing, but it's also something we knew could happen after the last concussion. It took over a year to happen.
Correct.
And you knew you were going to have these conversations when it happened again. Mm-hmm. And personally, I think he's done.
Yeah.
Or personally, I think I would be done if I was him.
Yeah, I just.
But I think he is going to try.
And look, I've had a couple concussions in my life, and even the 2 that I had, which compared to his are very mild in nature, but even the 2 that I've had, and who knows how many, probably technically more, that we as athletes at any level have probably had, or just living life in general, right? I mean, the 2 kind of just scare me, like, because, like, who the hell knows what
the third one would do.
Right, and not even so much of that, but, like, who knows what that even did to my brain in the first place, that when I'm 50 or something,
yep.
Right? Like, and, like, it sucks to kind of live and think that way, but, like, it's hard not to. You look around at some of these guys, and it's like, again, this will sound ignorant and blunt, but, like, you look at some of those guys, I'm like, why wouldn't you just like literally like shove me into the woods and just like leave me. Like I don't understand how some of the guys live the way that they do.
It's funny is DeMar Hamlin was one that tackled him,
Yeah,
and
credited with the tackle, but yeah.
the two like things you need to live with is your brain and your heart.
Right. Yeah.
And if I had injuries like they have had,
Yeah.
there ain't no way I'm playing football. I've made enough money. I'm done. That's too scary. That's too important to live, is the brain and the heart.
Yeah.
And, man, I would be done.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
It's not a fun.
It's just a game.
Yeah, it's not a fun situation to be in.
This
and
is,
I don't envy his position. I've talked about it before a little bit on here and elsewhere, but like I remember reading Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s autobiography, the memoir that he did, and I had to put it down for like a week because he talked bluntly about like his final concussion that forced him into retirement, and I'm just like, holy shit, like it triggered stuff for me that I experienced with at least my one concussion. It's not fun.
he's going to go back out there. What if it happens again?
Exactly.
And there's a good chance.
Yeah.
Was he just never going to run again?
And you know that can't be the case.
Yeah.
You know, it's just,
It makes it too easy to beat the Dolphins.
Right.
The game plan, they know they're
Right.
never going to run.
yeah. It's like what, I mean, again, to go back to the Dale Jr. example here before we get to our picks, like, that's something Jr. talked about in his book, right? Is the fact that, like, I can do my best to avoid another crash, but, like, it's not going to work. Like, if you're racing in any form of motorsport, you're going to crash at some point, despite your best efforts. Yeah. Just like how in football, despite your best efforts, you're probably going to get knocked down again like that.
And that sport is crazy that they have these crashes like that, and these guys can just walk out of it.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah. And same with football, right? I mean, look at
Some of these hits.
some of these hits, yeah. I mean, there are a handful of them again this week. There was another, well, I say another. Like, there was a big talk again about hip tackles because there was one that might have been missed in the Texans-Bears game, and who knows. Anyway.
One last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Malik Neighbors, stud.
Yeah, he was on my bench in my one fantasy well, actually, I think it was our fantasy league. And
Aiden Daniels, I mean, they didn't score any touchdowns, but he looked good.
no, we didn't really get to that as much as I'd hoped, but yeah, 7 field goals.
First time in NFL history, I think.
7 for 7.
Someone's they scored 3 touchdowns, and the other team didn't, and they lost the game.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, that's what happens when
The kicker didn't
gets
help.
hurt. Yeah, Graham gets hurt play 1, and
Yeah, that's a big key.
yeah. All right, so for our picks this past week, Nick, we both went 6-10. It wasn't our best work we've ever had, so I moved to 16-16 on the year. You moved to 15-17 for the first 2 weeks. We are really good at this.
Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Thursday night football this week, Patriots at the Jets. Jets' first home game of the year. They're 6.5-point favorites.
Patriots will look good. Taking the Patriots.
Really?
Yep.
I'm taking. So here's the thing, and obviously with the NFL, as you guys know, if you're long-time listeners, we pick head-to-head here. I think if I was going against the spread, I'd be taking the Patriots as well, but I'm going to take the Jets. It's a lot like that Titans game, though, which we kind of saw did get sideways for a little bit.
I thought their second Titans were going to win.
If you told me if we get back here next week and the Patriots are winners, I would not be surprised.
I think the Patriots are better than people think.
Yeah, no, for sure. We talked a little bit about that last week. Not on here, but outside, where it's like, I think we're kind of undervaluing them a little bit.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. All right, first of the Sunday games, Giants at the Browns. Browns a 6.5-point favorite. I'm taking Cleveland here. Not thrilled about it, but I'm taking Cleveland.
I think the Giants get their first win.
Okay.
I'm taking the Giants.
Who are they bringing in for kicking? Do you know? Do you know if they've worked anybody out yet, technically?
I do not know.
Oh, boy.
That is not going to matter.
Okay.
What I saw out of Malik Neighbors last week, he's a stud. And Daniel Jones looked good as well.
Don't know. That doesn't feed the right narrative. Don't say that.
Yeah, no, it's all about Neighbors, not Jones.
Daniel Jones bad.
And Cleveland's as you would say.
I did say that even.
I'm taking the Giants. Yeah, I'm going to stick with it.
That's fair. So we're going opposite so far for the first two. Haven't done that all year yet.
And the Y hasn't still out there.
Bears at the Colts. Colts are a 1.5 favorite at home.
Caleb Williams looked good for 2 drives. The Colts look bad the whole game.
Yeah. I was torn here.
I think the Colts will figure it out this week.
Yeah,
Colts.
I'm torn on this one. I'm going to Indy. Again, not like super thrilled about it.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago won this game.
But like, this might be a do or die week in a way for the Colts anyway. So go back to that 0-2 thing, right? I mean,
yeah.
All right, Houston at Minnesota. Minnesota, by the way, big upset win against San Fran. We didn't talk a lot about that one either.
These two teams are good.
Yeah, Houston and Minnesota. Minnesota 2.5-point underdog at home.
Man, these are some hard picks.
Yeah, this is a tough week.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna go Minnesota at home.
Oh, so we have another split then between me and you because I'm going to Houston.
They did look good.
Yeah, so you're not.
They are loaded.
I thought you were about to do your why for the week just there.
Not yet.
Okay. You did a breath there though.
I did. Not yet. I'm not sold on Minnesota either. So
Yeah,
but I just like at home. Going with the home team.
that's fair. That's fair, Baron.
Jefferson, I think, is fine.
Yeah, him and Darnold. Not bad connection.
No, 97-yard touchdowns will always be nice.
Philly at New Orleans. New Orleans a 2.5-point favorite.
Another tough one.
Yeah, is it though?
Superdome. I'm taking 3-0 Saints, baby.
I'm taking Philly here.
Why?
Oh
Paul?
wow, this is where you're going the full.
Yeah,
Why? Okay.
I want to know why. What did you see the other night
So-
that made you think you're going to take Philly?
It more or less has to do with the defense more than the offense, if I'm being completely honest. Outside of, frankly, one drive, the Eagles' defense looked pretty damn good. My concern on their offense they got to figure some shit out quick. Now, it doesn't help having A.J. Brown out, and I'm not going to deny that. Because at that point, if you're a defense, you can pretty much just hone in on Devonta Smith and jam the box and hope you can kind of contain Saquon.
Learned a lot of new Eagles receivers the other night.
I just think part of it, though, for me is like, I think that Saints defense is legit. I think they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit there in the second half. But I think their defense is legit.
Also, 90 points, whatever the Saints had, is tied for the fourth most in the first two games.
Really? How about that?
In NFL history. Who's been scoring 100 points after 2 games?
Beats me. All right, Denver at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, a near touchdown favorite at 6.5.
As they should be.
Yes.
Take it Tampa Bay.
Yeah, likewise.
Denver might get 6 points this week.
We'll see. Green Bay at Tennessee. Tennessee, 2.5-point favorites.
Green Bay at Tennessee.
Yep.
Tennessee's one of the worst teams in this league.
And I think it's a Malik Willis revenge game. I'm taking
true.
Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay.
Malik Willis actually
By the way,
halfway decent.
By the way, Green Bay's defense sneaky good as well.
Yeah. Didn't really it is sneaky good.
Yeah.
Didn't care for 0 targets for Christian Watson last week though, but that didn't care for that.
I don't know how much of that is a Willis issue as opposed to a Watson issue.
Taking Green Bay either way.
Okay.
Back with the Bays. Back to back with the Bays.
All right, a nice little balanced Sunday here. We're at the last of our early window 1 o'clock games.
Not 10 this week.
Nope. It is 7. So
No Octobox?
you won't get an Octobox. I'm sorry.
You missed it. We had a Tecto box.
I heard.
It was 10 of them.
I heard. Chargers at the Steelers. Steelers are a 1.5 favorite.
I don't understand that.
Neither do I. That's why I'm taking the Chargers.
Yeah, I think the Chargers straight up.
Oh, wow. Look at us go.
I might tease it to -5.
Ooh. All right, here we go. 4 o'clock window. Carolina at Vegas. Vegas 5.5-point favorites. Andy Dalton now under center.
That's better. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas 2-1. Taking the Raiders.
Same. Carolina's going to need to show me something.
Yeah.
Miami at Seattle. Seattle 4.5-point favorites. If this was last week, I would be picking Miami, but I got to take Seattle.
Skylar Thompson is terrible. I don't know how he almost beat the Bills in the playoffs that one year. I'm taking Geno, underrated quarterback, and the Seahawks.
Detroit at Arizona. Arizona 3-point home underdog.
Crazy. Arizona's 1-1. Detroit's 1-1. And Arizona's looked a lot better than Detroit has this season so far. But I'm thinking Detroit. I think they're finally going to show up and play a really complete game.
Give me the Cards.
Not so
A
fast.
home team getting points. What is better than that? Even though we picked
That dog is ugly.
bark bark. Baltimore at Dallas. 1.5 underdog. The Cowboys at home.
Please. 1 and 2. Ravens. Taking the Ravens.
It pains me to do this
Are you kidding me?
because it's a big game, and the Ravens don't show up in big games.
true.
I'm taking Dallas.
Hope you're wrong.
Taking Dallas.
You probably hope you're wrong.
Actually, I hope I am, but we gotta make picks around here. All right, last of the 4 o'clock window. San Fran at the Rams. The Rams are 7.5 point underdogs.
Is this Sunday night?
No.
No. Brock Purdy didn't look too great last week. But the Rams are hurting, so I'm taking San Fran.
Yep. Same. Now, here's the game. You've been waiting all day for Sunday night. Kansas City at Atlanta.
Atlanta on my
3.5
TV again.
3.5 point underdogs at home.
Kansas City.
Yep, same. 2 Monday night games this week. Jacksonville at Buffalo. Buffalo, 4.5 point favorites.
What's up with Jacksonville?
I don't know, but it gives me enough to put Buffalo in as my pick for this week.
Same.
And then the de facto later of the Monday night games, even though it starts only 45 minutes after the first one, Washington at Cincinnati.
Monday night.
Cincinnati laying 7.5 at home.
Cincinnati's going to break out.
I agree. Well, I don't know about breakout, but I definitely think they at least win. So,
You taking the cover? No Washington.
well, we pick head-to-head anyway. So.
Would you?
No. Well, the half is the tough spot there.
You say 7.5.
7.5.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, let's get to college. Good to see Notre Dame kind of bounce back.
They seemed angry.
Yeah.
They lost 2 online, though.
Not really surprising, but, you know.
They always crush Purdue.
Well, I was thinking more just for the fact that a lot of people were talking. So,
They're still in this thing.
sure, yeah, definitely. You know who's not in this thing anymore?
Florida State.
Bingo. Look, I don't fully understand, and I hate the people who. Now, look, DJU deserves a little bit of blame here. I'm not going to sit here and deny.
Yeah, no.
But the fact of the matter is, if Norvell was as good as a coach as people said he was going into this year, how is DJU doing worse at your school than he was at Oregon State? Oregon State did a great job, and that head coach now at Michigan State, his name is failing me because I'm an idiot and I forget. But what they did great at Oregon State for DJU in the 2 years he was there was they changed their offense to go and build off of his his strengths, not his weaknesses, right? Florida State's not doing that. And there's some other issues now with Florida State that are showing their head, right? Like maybe this running game isn't as great as we think. Maybe the stuff in the trenches isn't as great as NFL scouts were making it out to be. But the fact that they just have made no adjustments is wild. And that's going to be their ultimate downfall as it stands right now. Does Norvell get fired in this season? I'd lean yes. I don't know how much more losses he could probably take, especially if the Florida rumors are true and that Napier's going to get fired pretty much any week at this point. It kind of depends how the games go. It's kind of wild because this was the team I think a lot of people did peg to be the ACC darling this year, and it just has not gone to plan. And it does make you wonder. It's kind of funny how things work out because magically, also in a way here, right? Clemson and Florida State are talking with the ACC again about trying to figure out the revenue sharing and stuff like that. And my assumption there is, I'm guessing both their lackluster starts have kind of maybe turned the burner off on what's cooking on the stove there. However, here nor there on that. but it's interesting to kind of see how that dynamic's going. All while the on-field product has just been miserable for the Seminoles.
Yeah. 0-3 is 0-3.
Yeah.
And they're done. Obviously not done. They could go 9-3 and still win the ACC. Do we see this team going 9-3? I don't think so. Well, they'd have to go 10-3, win the ACC championship, and that would probably get them in. But even that, I don't even know if that'd be a top 5. It'd be a top 5 conference champion. They'd probably get maybe the 12th seed, which was you're supposed to think the top 4, the major 4 conferences would get those top 4 seeds, but that's technically not the case. The MAC could be a top 4 conference champion.
Right.
That's technically a possibility, but just really rare. Yeah, they're just not in Syracuse's class. Let's put that. Let's put that to print. That is Florida State is not in our class. I said our. Yeah, it's very disappointing because you want Syracuse to beat. That was supposed to be one of their could be a potentially an awesome win, and now it's nothing. And then it's also supposed to be an awesome win for Notre Dame, and now it's, damn, we better not lose to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, there's definitely been some disappointing starts to some team in college football this year.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State obviously is number 1. Notre Dame, you could be looked up as up there. Losing to Northern Illinois is not a great look.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, definitely not the same team as last year.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of some off the top of my head.
Well, I mean, Michigan's got this quarterback drama going on, and
Florida's terrible again.
yeah, I mean, also it doesn't get easier for Michigan this week. I know they're home, but they play USC. Same thing for Florida State. They're home, but they're playing a really good Cal team.
You see Florida, not go back to Florida here, but their schedule at the end of the season is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
They're going to be bad.
So, it's not on our pick list, that this game this week for Florida, but it's worth mentioning that when the SEC signed, or rather, when ESPN, ABC signed that deal with the SEC for game coverage, because of the way it's written, guess what the A game of the noon block is that's on ABC? It's Florida and Mississippi State.
Wow.
Mississippi State, who just got rocked by Toledo last week.
Interesting.
Yep, and guess what?
CBS now? Who does CBS have?
CBS has some Big Ten and...
it's not fully SEC anymore.
Correct.
It's disappointing.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get to our picks for college. How about it?
Yes.
You good for that? Okay, so last week on the head-to-head, I went 2-3. Nick, so 2-3 against the spread for me last week. I'm at 8-9 on the year. Nick, another 5-0 week for you on the head-to-head.
Come on, make these
13-1. Well, this week is hard because
13-1.
Yep.
I wonder which one the one I got wrong.
This week is hard, Nick, because there are a lot of ranked matchups head-to-head. So I went with those games. Screw it. So first one is Friday night, number 24 Illinois at number 23 Nebraska. Nebraska is an 8.5-point favorite.
Also, how was Illinois? Weren't they a 20-point underdog to Kansas?
5.5.
Oh, thought it was a lot bigger than that.
No.
Still, they crushed Kansas, didn't they?
I don't know about
they beat
crush, but yeah.
So who was this Illinois at who?
Illinois at number 23 Nebraska.
The Cornhuskers. Well, Matt Rule ruined Carolina Panthers.
He's rebuilt the Huskers.
Taking Illinois on the road.
Ooh, look at you. I'm taking Nebraska, actually, so we're going to be head-to-head in that matchup.
Nebraska is underdog?
Nebraska is 8.5-point favorite.
8.5?
Yep.
Well, I'm going to above the proof overall. Illinois is going to win that game.
All right. Number 11, USC at number 18, Michigan on Saturday. Michigan, a 5.5-point underdog at home.
Michigan's bad. USC.
The Notre Dame guy takes USC.
Yeah. Well, Michigan's our rival, too. They're just too scared to play us anymore.
Well, I'm also taking USC, so it doesn't matter. Number 12, Utah at number 14, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, a 1.5 underdog at home. I'm taking Utah, by the way.
I can't believe I'm doing it. I'm taking my third straight road team. Taking Utah.
Yeah, I'm taking Utah as well. I just think they're a better team. Mike Gundy's crazy. Need I say more? Even though there's a lot of shout-out Gannon, a lot of Gannon flair on that Oklahoma State team. So, number 6, Tennessee at number 15, Oklahoma. It's kind of the game of the day, actually. A lot of people have tabbed it. I disagree. I think this is going to be a rough one. Oklahoma's 6.5-point underdog at home. I'm being honest with you, Tennessee's my lock of the week.
Yeah, Oklahoma's not that good this year.
No.
I'm going to take Tennessee, my 4th straight road game.
Yeah. There you go. But it's my lock of the week.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's not looked good. So, last game. Cal at Florida State. Florida State is a 2.5-point favorite. 0-3 Florida State hosting 3-0 Cal.
You think you're going to get me with a 5th straight road game. You're not going to get me. Florida State's going to get their first win of the season.
Give me Cal. Screw it. Damn the Torpedoes.
Did we not agree on one of those picks?
We agreed on USC, Utah, and Tennessee.
Oh. Yeah, we did agree on 3
Yeah.
of them.
Good job, Nick.
All right. Like we didn't.
Before we get out of here, spend a quick minute. NASCAR at the Glen was a great weekend. Ended up being a sellout, which was great to hear. I didn't hear that pre-race, so great to hear that ended up being a sellout. Connor Zilic, if you don't know the name, you should. Boy's a real deal. Chris Buescher with a fantastic win on Sunday in the Cup race. Nick, you were down there just for Saturday this year at the Media Center. But I saw that you were able to get your ice cream again this year, which is great to see.
Great ice cream.
But maybe more importantly, you got to see
Great pretzel bites.
Connor Zilic. Were they the King's Hawaiian Pretzels bites?
I don't know.
Okay.
So they were just in a tray.
Either way, you got a little bit of exposure up close and personal with Connor Zilic.
11 years younger than me.
What was your impression of that kid who, by the way, pretty much just turned 18 years old?
Talk's good game for that young. That's really young.
Yeah.
To be in any professional sport.
Yeah.
And the coolest part about that interview, I don't think I've told you this yet. Dale Earnhardt.
I know about this. Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. called him mid post conference.
You
I was
don't
right there.
And you don't put Dale Jr. on hold.
No. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Last year I got to see Dale Jr. in person, so now I got to hear him over the phone a year later.
It's true.
But no, definitely cool. The fact that he just dominated that weekend too. Won the ARCA the night before and then wins that. In his debut, first guy to win in their Xfinity debut since Ty Gibbs. Forget what the year is.
2020?
2020.
Maybe.
I think that's what they said. But, his first race, there were some Cup guys in that race.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying.
Yep.
So it was a nice win for the kid. And got a bright future.
That's for sure.
It all comes down to getting the good cars.
Yep.
And got to get the good team.
Well, he's going to be running full-time for junior next year.
The tire guy in that race actually got ran over by a car.
Yes, I did hear about that. There was a couple interesting things about the Saturday race. One of the drivers, the 35 car, Thomas Annunziata, blacked out because of the heat. They had to pull him from the car, and they put car owner in for him. Yeah.
And you forget Zilic got off penalized.
Yeah.
Well, I think the whole thing was he thought Meyer,
he was following the leader.
Gibbs
in a
and
way.
Meyer. He just figured they knew what they were doing. That was their fault.
Yeah.
Going through the straight, they
And,
went straight there where you're supposed to go in the loop.
But it's a no-no. It's a no-no. You can't be doing that. No. Actually,
Not much penalty. He got right back up there real fast.
Well, it set him up too great for the strategy they ended up running, right? And smallest things where it all
Meyer never
worked out well.
recovered, but-
Sam did not. Ty Gibbs kind of did, but ended up running out of fuel, and so
that was the thing. He didn't run out of fuel, Zilic there. So.
Yeah. Huge.
And then the next day, none of the playoff drivers were up there.
Mr. Buescher. Yeah.
Where were the playoff drivers? They were all at the
Well, at the start of the race, they were up there and everything. Some of them got caught up in a lap one incident and whatever else. But yeah, I mean, by the end of the race, it ended up being first time ever in the history of the playoff, even going back to when it was called the Chase. All the way back to 2004, 20 years, they never had top five in any race where there wasn't at least one playoff guy in it. And First time there was no playoff guys in the top 5.
Is Busher, is he known for the road courses?
He's a good road racer. I wouldn't say he's like known, which is he should be, but he's just not for some reason. But he's a good road racer.
Not a big name.
He's a good road racer. He should be.
Yeah.
That was his 7th or 8th career win.
He's been around.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. So, all right, that'll do it then for the podcast for today.
Yeah, I got a couple omissions.
Oh, omissions and shout-outs.
Yeah, a couple omissions. Pirates got eliminated last night. Right now they are 1-4 since Ben Cherington said Shelton's coming back. Hoping they can go 1-15, lose 13 straight. Last omission, Marcus Morris re-signs back with the Knicks. Well, he signs back with the Knicks, not re-sign, but Marcus Morris is back, so look out for that. And, yeah, those are my omissions. And my shout-out today, I was looking at my phone for birthdays, and it's actually my friend Khalil's birthday today, who I shouted out last week. So we're going to do the back-to-back shout-out, one of the rare back-to-backs. Happy birthday, Khalil. Congrats on your first fantasy football win last week in my league.
And happy birthday.
And then happy birthday today. Yeah. So back-to-back shout-out.
Congratulations. Cool. First time in Fresh Takes history. Back-to-back, same person.
I don't know if it's happening.
I don't know about that. So appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening. We'll be back again next Wednesday. Enjoy the weekend, everybody.